found out about Twitch in 2013 when I still had my Xbox 360 when it popped up as an app. But can we take 2 seconds, look at Fortnite, and let's shit on Fortnite for a second because they said Apex was dead. Not. So what is Twitch? Twitch is like Netflix for gamers. You could scroll through a bunch of games and choose one that somebody would be playing live at that moment. As long as you got a Twitch account, you could technically just jump right into the chat, support the streamer by subscribing or giving bits, or donating directly through PayPal. As you grow an audience, you can make people that you trust and feel that's loyal into moderators. And technically, you can just move on from there. On my first journey coming into Twitch, I just found it so much more, appealing, way better than TV. It was just like some on-demand gaming type stuff that I really like to watch, and I actually watched a lot of it. Like I said, I found it in 2013, going straight into 2015, I still ain't even have an Xbox One. So yeah, I was still on 360 all the way till 2016. Okay, so during this time I discovered Twitch. I was moving out from my mom's house because I had just made a little bit of money from the casino. Yes, I was gambling. And I was ready to just move out on my own, got my own apartment, and I started partying a lot with friends. Just, doing typical shit that you do when you go out and you having a good time with your friends, partying, turning up, all that. Around this time, I was running another YouTube channel, which I still have to this day. I consider it my main vlogging channel, and I was vlogging hard on that channel back then, as you can see. And because I was doing something like every single weekend. It was like a weekend I wasn't going by, at least especially during the summertime. It wasn't like a weekend that would go by where I don't do shit. And it was just turning up. And during all this, I had to balance the lifestyle of work, paying bills, partying, working out, and then of course, what comes next? Gaming, man. I had to get the game on, and that's what I was doing. Like I said, that first year I still had that, I was staying out, I still had a 360, and within that time frame, I wound up, working extra hard, putting in them extra hours, slaving, and wound up getting me an Xbox One. Around February 13th when I got my Xbox One of 2016. So yeah, pretty much around that time. So now I was ready for my first stream. I had finally got the Xbox One. I started to use my Twitter to promote my Twitch, since I never really used it for nothing else. And my first game I started streaming was BO3. I was super excited about that, and I was just getting into that. Always played Call of Duty, been a Call of Duty fan since the first Call of Duty. I'm not gonna say the first Call of Duty, I'm gonna say Call of Duty 4. I was about to try to say something else, I don't know why. But yeah, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, that was my first Call of Duty I pretty much was into, and then went all the way into the Black Ops series. So got it in with that, and played a little bit of that. I was streaming Ark, which is a whole nother story. That game is trolly as fuck. I met the worst of the worst on there, and that's crazy because I started to get pretty good view count the later I started getting into it, but it wasn't nothing much. It wasn't nothing major. It was major a little bit at that time, but it was just a different story with Ark. And I did a lot of Dark Souls, definitely a lot of Dark Souls. I fell in love with that game. Streamed that shit whenever I could. It was like night and day. I love the whole medieval thing, and it was a game I could stream by myself without feeling too, whatever, because I was still new to streaming. But then one night at 3:19 a.m. in the morning, I wind up hearing,
in the first age, in the first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the umbral plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. And those that tasted the bite of his
the next day I knew I had to go pre-order that game like ASAP. And I was super hyped for it. It was one of my all-time favorite games. I played Doom way since I can remember, like the old Nintendo 64 when it released. I was real young, so I was like 11 some years old around that time. But yeah, played Doom so much, I'm like, I instantly knew what it was as soon as I, got the information that it was about to be out. I pre-ordered it, didn't waste no time. I traded some games in, got it at a major discount. I got it for like 16, but I said it in that video. So y'all want to take some time to go around on my, YouTube channel to go find that. It should be Doom 4. I got the date. Probably link the video in the description box below. And with that being said, Doom was my first game I streamed that was with no hosts, no raids. It brought me in the highest viewers I ever got for the first time ever in my whole streaming career on my own. And that felt good. It brought in over 90 plus viewers, and it turned out to be a 16-hour stream. And I streamed that game from start to finish the very first day I got it, which was on the 13th, May 13th, 2016. Never forget that date. Yeah, I was playing that shit, and yeah, it just brought in so many people, and I got over 60-something followers that day. And I was just like, this was up. This was nice. It was fun sharing that moment, and people actually coming in, and people actually, just liking it. And the major thing was, majority of them dudes, they was lurkers. Because a lot of people, when they came in, they said something at first, and then, the number stayed. And at that time, I'm using the Xbox app, by the way, to do my streaming stuff. So, yeah, I'm seeing the viewer count and seeing the people type every now and then, whatever. And it was just nice. So as time went on, I wound up signing up with Streamlabs to start having analytics sent to me directly through my email. And that was just pretty much to see, that was my way of finding out the feedback from the viewers, to see how long they stayed in, average view time, all that kind of stuff. And it wind up doing something nice that I didn't even think about, but it wind up keeping track of donations and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was just real nice. So I just really want to see the type of community I had as I was progressing through my streaming career. And like I said, I got my Xbox February 2016. I started streaming sometime in March of 2016. I was just trying to wait to make sure I had everything together on my Xbox to connect all that, and that would pretty much took me up because I didn't have a connect. I wanted to do a face cam. I just didn't want to do gaming. Just a game without the face cam, which later I became more into that because I'm into cinema and all that kind of stuff, but I'll save that for another time. And yeah, man, that was just pretty much the whole peak of my streaming career, as in turning around on that day was May. And then I had a lot of times I was just on and off. There would be times I wouldn't stream at all. Then there was times I was going hard on streaming. I've been on and off for the last 3 years ever since 2016 all the way till now, 2019, as I'm making this video in July 20th to be exact. Lion King just came out yesterday, so just make that a trademark of the video, I guess. And yeah, I plan on just trying to go more deep into depth with it, keep up the good work. I'm trying to be way more consistent than I was before. If you follow my streams and you know why I was on and off, technically I didn't have the equipment I wanted. As I became more, I'm gonna say, as I became better at streaming, replying to messages, and streaming in general, actually being able to put out good gameplay as I'm streaming, I wanted way more. I seen people that got PCs that was streaming through PC. They was, playing console but streaming through the PC, and it was looking nice. And I had a friend at the time, they was doing it, Legendary Q, if y'all don't already know, and I seen a couple other people that was just pretty much like the streams look nice. You could play music on the streams. You could have all these alerts, these emotes and stuff like that pop up on screen that you couldn't do if you were streaming through the console, which that's what I was doing. So that whole year I was streaming through console, and that's where I got a little bit not discouraged, not demotivated. I was agitated to the point I didn't want to stream until I'm like, until I get this money to get me a PC, because I'm a perfectionist. I like to pull out top quality. Until I could put out some top quality shit, I'm not about to stream no more on this console. Like, I was pretty much going through the phase where I was like just done streaming on console and trying to grind so hard to get a high-end PC so I could, go ahead and stream. As a lot of streamers do. Same typical shit. But before, that time was, in those times, I didn't know anything about just the streaming community in general. It was just in my head, like, that's just what I wanted to do. From just seeing other streams, like, the shit look nice, it look crispy. And when my game crashed, that means my stream crashed as well when my Xbox would crash. So, wind up sitting back on that, saving up, and then just a thought came to my head, was just like, you know what? Maybe I should say fuck all this shit, start over, because there's a lot of things I want to do, but I'm not gonna go into that. My bad, everybody, my mic had cut out. But what I was gonna say is, I was gonna go into a whole nother tangent. I'm just not gonna go into that because that's a whole nother video at a whole nother time. But so far, I guess this is where I end the documentary at so far. And if y'all want more, then obviously let me know. If y'all, anybody willing to, want to show some support after y'all seeing this video, you always can come follow me on Twitch. I have everything linked in the description box below. And that's pretty much it, man. I'm just gonna show y'all what I've made throughout my entire time being a Twitch affiliate. So I'm gonna go ahead and prompt that up on the screen, and y'all can take a dash at that. It's not to gloat, nothing like that. I know it's not the most money for over 3 years of streaming, but it's something because it's progress, in my eyes. So yeah, at the end of the day, man, stay tuned, stay locked, stay messy with it. As always, do it for the free. When you see me, Red Dragon Dynasty, I'm out, and y'all can catch me on Twitch, man, since that's what y'all pretty much probably here for. And if anybody come and watch this video from my Twitch channel, understand already the cliche shit, I appreciate it. Make sure I hit that like button to help my YouTube grow as well. So I'll be seeing y'all in the next one. Y'all take care of yourselves out there.